In our hyper-connected world, communication is instant. A single phone call, a text message, can bridge any distance. But sometimes, that connection fails when it matters most. For emergency dispatchers, every ring is a mystery. It could be a minor incident, a false alarm, or a life-or-death crisis unfolding in real time. Some calls end with the welcome sound of sirens and a sense of relief. Others end in silence, leaving behind questions that haunt us forever. This is the story of one of those calls. Kyle Plush was a vibrant 16-year-old sophomore at Seven Hills School in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was a typical teenager, full of life and promise. He was a good student, a dedicated athlete on the tennis team, and a beloved son with a bright future ahead of him. On April 10, 2018, what began as a routine afternoon would spiral into an unimaginable nightmare. Around 3:00 p.m., Kyle drove his family-esque gold 2004 Honda Odyssey minivan to the school parking lot for a tennis match. He parked the van and realized his tennis equipment was in the back. Instead of getting out, he did what many of us might do. He climbed over the seats from the front to retrieve his gear. As he reached into the cargo area, stretching over the folded-down third-row bench seat, a catastrophic failure occurred. Without warning, the seat's spring mechanism engaged, violently flipping the heavy seat backward. Kyle was thrown into the rear of the van, his body pinned upside down. The seat collapsed onto his chest and abdomen, trapping him with nearly 70 pounds of crushing force. He was stuck, unable to move his arms, struggling to breathe. The weight was suffocating. The panic was overwhelming. But in this desperate moment, Kyle's mind was still sharp. He couldn't reach his phone with his hands, but he could use his voice. Using Siri, he managed to dial 911. The first call was logged at 3:16 p.m. On the other end of the line, the dispatcher heard a muffled, faint voice. Kyle was gasping for air, his words broken by the immense pressure on his lungs. He pleaded for help, his voice strained. The dispatcher struggled to understand him, asking repeatedly for his location. Amid the confusion, a few terrifying words cut through the noise. "I'm at Seven Hills. I'm going to die here." Following protocol, police were dispatched to the Seven Hills School. 2 officers arrived quickly and began searching the large, multi-level parking lot. They checked around buildings and looked into cars, but after about 11 minutes of searching, they found nothing that seemed out of place. There was no visible sign of anyone in distress. They reported back that it was likely a prank call from a child. But inside the gold Honda Odyssey, Kyle was still alive, still fighting. As the officers were outside, he managed to make a second call to 911. It was 3:35 p.m. This time, his voice was noticeably weaker, but he was determined. He provided more critical details. He told the dispatcher he was trapped inside his gold Honda Odyssey in the Seven Hills parking lot. His breathing was shallow, his energy fading. Then, he spoke the heartbreaking words that no parent should ever have to hear their child say. "I probably don't have much time left. Tell my mom I love her if I die." This was the moment that could have changed everything. Kyle had given them the make, model, and color of the van. He had confirmed his location, but somehow, this crucial information was never relayed to the officers who were still on the scene. A computer glitch was later blamed for the dispatcher not seeing the updated notes on her screen. At 3:37 p.m., just 2 minutes after his final, desperate plea, the incident was marked as no new information, and the officers were cleared from the scene. They left, believing the search was over. But for Kyle, the ordeal was far from over. He was still trapped, alone, as the minutes turned into hours. The relentless pressure on his chest made it impossible to breathe. His body, starved of oxygen, began to shut down. The world outside went on, unaware of the tragedy unfolding inside that minivan. It wasn't until nearly 6 hours after his first call for help that Kyle was finally found. His father, Ronald Plush, growing worried when Kyle didn't come home, used a phone-finding app to locate him. He rushed to the school parking lot and discovered the horrific scene. He found his son, lifeless, inside the family van. Kyle had died from asphyxiation due to chest compression. Kyle Plush's death sent shockwaves across the country. It was a tragedy born from a freak accident, but compounded by a series of systemic failures. Investigations revealed critical breakdowns in the 911 communication system. There were technical glitches, human errors, and a failure to convey vital life-saving information. It was a situation that should have been survivable. On the 3rd anniversary of Kyle's death, the city of Cincinnati agreed to a $6 million settlement with his family for his wrongful death, but no amount of money could bring their son back. In the wake of this tragedy, Kyle's final, chilling 911 calls have become a powerful training tool for emergency response centers nationwide. His case forced a painful but necessary reevaluation of 911 protocols, leading to significant reforms aimed at preventing such a failure from ever happening again. Some 911 calls don't end when the line goes dead. They echo through dispatch centers, reminding operators of the weight of their words. They echo through courtrooms, demanding accountability. And they echo through the hearts of families who are left to grapple with one unbearable question for the rest of their lives. What if someone had just listened a little closer? Kyle Plush's legacy is a solemn reminder that in an emergency, every detail matters, every second counts, and every call is a life on the line. Thank you for watching.